Welcome to In Conversation, a series where we sit down with a different YouTuber, booktuber, or literary figure to talk about their life, gear, and the behind-the-scenes processes. This episode, we're sitting down with Una and Crypto from the CodeX Cantina. They cover a wide range of literature across time and space on their channel, and honestly, we aspire to create as much content as they do. I love your twice-a-week release schedule. I wish we could do that. I've been following along with their Dark Tower series so far, and I've been enjoying it a lot. Also, I almost spoiled one of the later books for Una before we started recording, so... There's that. We'll be dropping links to their channel, CodeX Cantina or CodeX Cantina, in the description, and you should absolutely go check them out. Una, Crypto, thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for having us. It's a pleasure to be here and a pleasure to spend some time with other people that are passionate about books and production here.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate another video we get to do, right?
Absolutely. Okay, so this is off script, actually, from the questions we wanted to ask you, but I really got to ask, because I could not find this in any videos on your channel, and maybe I just missed it. Where does the name Codex or CodeX Cantina come from?
So, Crypto and we had been playing like a Star Wars video game. That's how we met.
Oh, really? Okay.
How Una met Crypto 5-6 years ago. We were playing a Star Wars game. Of course, Star Wars, Cantina, they go hand in hand. And we started talking about books. I'm like, hey, man, you read that new Star Wars book? And we just kind of started... Yeah, we started riffing back and forth, and codex, of course, is just a word that means, one singular document. Like there's scroll, and then there's codex, like a binded document is what codex means. So we just called it the Codex Cantina to honor Star Wars. It was originally just a Star Wars book club read, and somehow we ended up in literary fiction. So,
all right, that makes sense. We have to start, of course, with the official questions. With the most important question of our show: what are you both drinking tonight or today?
I actually planned this drink specifically for you guys to drive you nuts. As you're editing this video, I want you to have to look at this, because in your video, I know, Matt, you said you've been reading, I don't know if it's the same biography, I need to look up who even wrote the biography that I was reading of Tolstoy, but you talked about he loved a specific milk drink.
Oh, yeah.
And would chow down on that. So I've prepared a glass of milk because I heard you guys don't trust people that drink milk. Oh, no. Just to see how this one goes.
Yeah. I'm just going to blur it out.
No, I do. While I did bring the milk for gag, I do have some what's called King Sue. It is by a brewer called Goliath Brewery, I think it's called, out in Iowa, and it's spectacular. It's like $2.50 a can, but you have to try it. If you guys ever see King Sue, put it into your cart immediately.
Okay.
I am drinking a Red Stag and Fresca.
Ooh.
Yeah, my brother-in-law taught me that drink, and it's really, really good. Yeah, a little day drinking with the hard alcohol.
As it should be. Yeah. Matt, what about you?
So I'm doing a sober Solzhenitsyn over here because it is the day time for me, time zones. But I still did something fun because I don't really drink soda a lot, but I love Coca-Cola, and I found a cherry vanilla Coca-Cola at the store the other day, which I didn't know that they had put those two flavors together yet. That was new to me as a Coca-Cola aficionado, so that was, it's pretty exciting. So I got one of those in my tried and true Northwestern koozie, which never leaves my side.
Okay, well, Matt's shaming me because I'm 2 hours behind him. But today I am drinking. I wish I had a more a brewery beer. There's actually a brewery right around the corner that I've been meaning to buy one from, but instead today I am bringing a spicy tamarind vodka, which I'm just drinking neat because I don't really know what you can mix tamarind vodka with, but okay, so let's get into the questions. Matt, do you want to kick it off?
Yes, we have our first question, tried and true question, very important question to allow us to access the deep parts of your personalities. If you were dropped on a desert island, what author would you want to bring along with you?
You want to go first, Crypto?
No. That's a tough question.
So we're always gonna make things more complicated than they ought to be.
Sure.
Am I bringing all of their books, or if my author only has like 2 books as opposed to this author has written 20, I might choose differently. Do I bring all of their books or a select number?
You're bringing the author, alive or dead.
Himself. Yes.
Well, I'm bringing Kurt Vonnegut, my boy. He's freshwater people, so he knows how I am. He comes from the Midwest, so
yeah. All right, that's fair.
Also, another clarifying question: can they continue writing, and can they do they have a typewriter or a computer? Okay. Do I have a printer?
You're just on a desert island. Yeah.
With them.
If you can, you're just on a desert island. If they can find a medium to write something down, then they definitely can. But you're just out there to survive.
Aristotle.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So you can be driven mad by his constant questioning of everything you do.
Well, if there's no computer or there's no typewriter or anything, or no pencil or pen, what good is Vonnegut's not going to be able to repeat everthing to you? I want some guy that does everything orally.
Run into a cave. You guys find like a cave on this desert island. Aristotle's going to be like, "Oh, I've heard about this one. I want to go there."
Oh, are you in the cave or are you outside of the cave? That's a very big different perspective. That's some deep philosophy. It'll keep your brain sharp when they finally rescue you.
See, you say that now, but when you're trying to start a fire and he's standing over you, questioning you on the nature of sticks, that's when I think you're gonna. That's when you're gonna start having problems.
He would be able to start a fire. He'd be able to, who would you take? Who have you said before?
Who have I said? I would take the author of One Soldier's War, Arkady Babchenko, because he's trained in survival, I believe. So I've got no survival skills beyond just camping, so I would rely on him for survival. I've got a very practical approach to this question.
I hate that answer. That's a great answer. That's what I was trying to go for. You stole my answer.
I would take our boy, the titular Leo Tolstoy, so that when we inevitably get off of this island, he could write me into a secondary plot of a larger novel, which nobody reads and skips over. And they're like, oh, the Levin plot, or etc.
Or he'd make you a wise man and you could just run on water and leave the island.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
He would teach you wisdom and you would just run away.
That's not the way to pray, my son. This was the way.
Oh, that's a deep cut.
This is a bit more conventional. But what book has had the greatest impact on your life? We only ask easy questions here.
That's right.
Right. I'm going to bring it up again. Everybody's going to be sick of me bringing this one up, but I'm going to say Absalom, because I've always described that as my spaceship book of how do I describe, because all I can describe is the American way, right? If I were to describe how America became the way it is, that book has the DNA of what people will do to get what they want and how they will abuse words and the truth to get the things that they want in life and to have that just comfort, like the person that will do anything to get what he wants, the ends to the mean. That's what that book is to me.
So I have two answers. I'm cheat. I always cheat.
That's okay.
My thing.
That's fair.
I want to go with the basic answer of the Bible because it has changed my life dramatically in many different ways. But I think the one as a reader, I'm going to go with Wizard's First Rule by Terry Goodkind. That one made me realize that I was a fantasy nerd and that this was the type of books that I knew I would always be able to fall back on and enjoy. No matter where my reading journeys took me, this was a world that I could come back to and always feel safe. Yeah.
So you've got like the comfort read, and then you've got the inspirational read, and I have the read that tortures me. That makes people question what are the words that we use and do we believe what we say?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we think about it, like all of the stuff we do on our channel, a lot of times we're always referencing back to the Bible and all the inspiration has been to all these other authors. And it is a bond between you and me. And I think it's a bond that we can have with other people as well. But Wizard's First Rule is something when I remember back reading that when I was 16, babysitting that helicopter. It changed how I was going to read for the rest of my life, or knowing that I didn't have to change and I could always go back to that book or that series.
That's a good one. I respect it. And I respect the cheat as well. So now onto books that perhaps are less influential. If you could wipe any book from the face of the American public school curriculum, what would it be?
Absalom. Just kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm going to go out on a limb here because when you read it as a kid, I think it has a different meaning than when you read it as an adult.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
And
I was
this
gonna
is
pick
one
that too.
And this is one that I'm really afraid to ever revisit because it meant a lot to me as a kid. And maybe it's okay for it to be in the canon that way too, but looking back on it, is school about finding yourself as you are today? Is it about finding yourself in the future? And there's just a lot of different ways that you can look at it. But one of the ones that always just kind of bugged me a little bit was the
Catcher in the Rye.
Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, looking back on it, I know that's one that I can't read again and not have a different takeaway. But I don't know if that's fair to rob the American school system of it because of that. If you want me to pick a different one, okay. Here's a controversial one that I was just listening to a talk from someone else. Are you guys familiar with the author Gene Toomer?
Gene Toomer, I don't think so.
So he wrote in the early Harlem Renaissance, he wrote this book called Cain. And it's a collection of poetry, drama, plays, prose narrative. It combines all of these experimental, almost kind of like a short story cycle where the stories are still kind of connected by theme and other elements. But it's kind of about the Black experience, right? The Harlem Renaissance of now freed ex-slaves coming up to the North and being treated as lesser, right? So it found a voice, a lot of people who read it found it like, hey, we don't see this with a lot of other authors at the time. But why is that controversial? Well, as it turns out, in his real life, Gene Toomer had mixed racial backgrounds. So he had a lot of white blood in him so that he could actually pass, where people wouldn't know if he had any Black, cultural history. And what he would do is he would only claim the white side in public. He'd marry white women. And I guess he kind of denounced his Black heritage, even though he wrote this book that represented the voice so well. So as a result, it became so controversial that he could take up so much of the narrative in the study when he himself actually practiced a very different life and outlook. So a lot of people think he shouldn't be such a big part of the literary canon if he didn't really practice what he preached when it came to real life.
Interesting. Okay, Crypto, was Catcher in the Rye your choice? Was that robbed of you?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was just messing with him because I knew he'd pick that. I knew he would. Dr. Seuss.
Dr.
No,
Seuss.
That's all in the news right now and everything. I'm going to go even more controversial. Anything from Billy Shakespeare. I don't think should be in high school. I think that it should be at a college level. I think that trying to force high schoolers to dissect how that's written, why it's important at that depth of philosophy inside of your story and your writings. I didn't get it. I didn't enjoy it, and I have negative views still to this day where I struggle with that kind of poetic writing style, and I don't think that it's appropriate for that mindset or level for a 16, 17-year-old, especially nowadays when they have so much going on in their lives. I think that to try to push them towards that is unfair, and then expect them to have these big debates and to be able to pull out all these old English words that they're going to have to Google, and then that takes time away and it pulls them out of the story. I don't think that their cognitive abilities for your average high school student having to try to read William Shakespeare in an average English class at 10th grade, I don't think that's realistic. And then the teacher gets mad. It's just, you're setting them up for failure.
Mm-hmm.
So shots fired on the Bard. And it's interesting, you and I both kind of went towards that topic of the life experiences one has at that point in their life and trying to relate, do you see yourself in the literature, or is this a window into another person's life that may be different than ours?
As a high school teacher, I interact with these young minds all day, and they're so malleable and they're sponges. And I think trying to go with some of these very deep authors that are questioning who they are and they don't even know who they are is unfair to them. Where in college, you've kind of started to embrace who you are, discovered your likes and dislikes and your own personal views in politics and religions and relationships. And I think that you're more capable of digesting something that is so going to influence you for the rest of your life, that to do that at 17, it's not fair.
And let's be honest, literature is so personal, right? So for when a child or a young adult reads these and they have this visceral reaction of rejection, right? They don't like it and they're pushing it away. Sometimes, it's hard to understand our own feelings sometimes. And sometimes that becomes, and maybe some people this is correct, but some people I don't think it is, they think they hate books. They walk away and say, I don't like reading at all, when in the reality is they don't like the books that were chosen for them to read. And sometimes years later, they'll read something that they want, whether it be Terry Goodkind or whatever it is that will resonate with them. They'll be like, oh, I do like reading. I just didn't like, what we typically call assigned reading stigma.
Outside of content you produce for YouTube, and just reading in general. What do you do for fun? What do you do to relax?
Do I have to go outside of reading? Because that's my
fair.
relax,
That's
typically.
totally fair. I just like what kind of hobbies do you have?
Well, we did talk about Star Wars earlier, being gamers. Yeah, we are big gamers.
Yeah.
That's Crypto and I's passion. Crypto will make fun of me because I still haven't left the 16-bit world. I still play Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
I have a 5-year-old. He's approaching 6, and we're working through the Mega Man X series right now. So we're starting with it. And if you've ever played those games, a lot of times they put Easter eggs in it, right? So if you've mastered all these different techniques and you've gotten all of the upgrades, you can unlock this special power. And the special power in Mega Man X is the Hadouken.
Oh.
So if you literally do the Hadouken like Ryu, it'll destroy any enemy in 1 point. And the other night, I'm getting the tablet set up. I'm getting ready to get my son ready to brush his teeth, and I hear him just like jumping up and down in excitement. And I go in the other room, and he beat Mega Man X all by himself. Like I couldn't even beat the last boss. Like he did it. And I was just so proud because as a gamer, like I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Like that sense of accomplishment where like you're given these guardrails, and once you get good at doing this, you'll achieve that. And once you're good at this, then you move on to the next thing. And that's what video games are to me, is you're mastering like a system at a time, but it's fun. And that's what I like about them.
Yeah.
I'm also an avid gamer. I used to own a game store many, many years ago, so I have like literally every system, and there's stuff behind me in my background. But yeah, I have a PlayStation 4, and I have an Xbox, and I want to get a PS5, and big gamer as well. But I'm also very avid in working out, trying to take care of myself, eat healthy, and we have a nice home gym. So those are kind of my two things I do besides reading, is working out and playing games.
Nice.
So, and grading papers, DBQs, LEQs, DBQs, LEQs, DBQs, LEQs. That's what I'll be grading after this.
Yeah, I was gonna say I admire that. Is it the Mandalorian helmet from the show, or is it just a general Mandalorian helmet on the shelf behind you?
Oh yeah, well, fun story. That was actually made by a student.
Really?
He 3D printed that entire thing for me. Yeah. So he made that for me. He was a former student, and he knew I was a big Star Wars fan. And he said, "Hey, I'm making stuff with my 3D printer, and to start my own business." And he's the Lego doctor on eBay, and he made the Mandalorian helmet for me and the gauntlets. I got the whistling birds.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I don't know if you can't see the gauntlets, but I got the whistling birds and rope thing as well. So maybe one day I'll get the full suit. But
That's how you know you're a good teacher, is when your students are willing to do ridiculous projects for you.
He didn't get an A either.
We are probably the only people interested in this. Not exactly clear. We love to talk to people about the different kind of gear that they use, because that's something that we've become really invested in learning more about as we try to improve podcasts, videos, whatever it is. And you guys make a ton of really great content. So we're curious to hear about sort of what are your general setups, like, microphones, cameras, preferred editing softwares, anything that you do that you like using, or that maybe makes your life a little easier?
Yeah, I hate my whole setup. At the end of this, Una's going to tell me, and you guys are be like, please turn down your gain because you're clipping the whole time. I'm trying to actually talk really soft and away from the microphone.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what happened recently, but my mic is picking up everything.
Huh, interesting.
I probably need to get a new mic. Yeah, I got a Blue Yeti. Yeah. I need a better mic. I really do. So one day, maybe when I get that stimmy check, I'll buy me a new mic. And then I have a computer that records my audio that is a tower from like 1985. I'm not even kidding, because it has a dial-up modem. You guys know what that is? Like,
yeah. Right on the cusp, yeah.
It literally still has that in there. It has a floppy drive for both 6.5 and 3.5, so it's just been upgraded for like 100 years. And then I have I have a Canon camera that I'm recording on. So, and I'm in an office room that I put stuff all over the walls, and my setup is very basic. So Una just makes me look pretty and sound good.
Yeah, when we started this channel, I mean, all he had was like a webcam.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, do you want to upgrade? Is this something we want to keep doing?
Yeah.
Is this fun? And he said, yeah. So he went and got, like a $200, just so, a Canon camcorder on Amazon. Very, very simple. He was looking just for like a low aperture that would just bring in a bunch of light. Like if you're looking to get something cheap, you're getting into video stuff. Most people just start with their phones. You know what I mean? I come from a video background, and I think, Cameron, I've told you about 800 times that I back everything up. Like this is what you learn when you get into filmmaking is you have backups, right? So I need dedicated devices, and I've kind of influenced Crypto here to get dedicated devices. And the Blue Yeti is like a great starter microphone. It's cheap, plugs right into the microphone, or into the computer, like USB, so you don't have to have tons of extra gear for those that are just kind of looking for like that quick setup. Now, I have not a quick setup, but I still have an expedited setup where I can get everything set up in about 7-8 minutes in my kitchen when my son goes to bed is how this works. I have a Shure SM7B microphone, and those will run right now. They're usually about $400. So I got a couple of those so I can run like a podcast locally if I need to. And I just run those directly into my console here, which is just the Rodecaster Pro, I think it's called.
You know, it was the biggest pain in the butt for me to actually get was a chair.
Really?
I didn't have a chair. Yeah, I don't have a computer chair or anything like that. I never had one. And because I always, if I gamed from my console or whatever, I was sitting on my couch, on a laptop or something. And so I had to go to a Goodwill to find the actual chair that I'm sitting in. And for the longest time, if you go back and watch our very first video, I'm on my laptop with the webcam, with my gaming headphones, and I'm sitting on my workout bench.
I was wondering about that because it's the first Dark Tower book, The Gunslinger, and like it kind of looks like you're in night vision. I was kind of like wondering, like, what's your setup? Because you're like, I couldn't quite figure it out. I was trying to. I was interested. I was doing research.
Yeah, and if you see, like, I'm hunched over and I'm all like, leaning over into the camera and stuff because I'm sitting on that workout bench. Yeah, we've come a long way in a couple of years, so slowly but surely we've been upgrading.
Right. So moving on from gear, another area which we are also really interested in, because this is the unseen side, but very, very important, the process of how the proverbial sausage gets made. So you cover a lot. How do you choose what you're going to cover?
We work actually with a couple different sources. Sometimes it comes down to just lists on the internet, but we'll actually have teachers send us their syllabus.
Interesting.
So sometimes like teachers will be like, hey, can you cover this? We really like the way you cover this. And we're kind of thought of as like a supplemental material, right? Because them getting in front of a kid, it doesn't matter how good of a teacher they are. There's always going to be those kids that are going to be like, you're lame because you're my teacher, right? And they're going to think that the selection's weird. They're going to think that the teacher's weird just because you're an old guy and I'm a young person as a student. And what they like about us is that we have a very conversational way of just kind of talking about it. And since we're not their teacher, it kind of makes it a little bit more acceptable or cool. So we become kind of like these supplemental materials sometimes to, hey, look, the teacher said this, and here's these people on the internet that think the same way. And that can kind of help students to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess I can kind of see that in that story and kind of learn to take stories apart and apply my own meaning to them.
But we've got to that point. But in the beginning, it was just things that we wanted to read. And it's evolved into, well, how can we expand our own understanding of life and universe and people's cultures? And when we got into Christmas, we're like, hey, how do other people celebrate Christmas? Well, let's learn about that. And it's just things that we're interested in learning about of religion or cultures or race and all these other things that make us better people. And then that kind of came with it because people saw the value in our discussions of those things that we personally wanted to learn about, I think, over the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's really neat. Just the thought of being recommended to a high school class that's cool. That's something that I don't think teachers could do with us without turning them into drinkers.
Well, we definitely have the content that is more like we were saying, this is going to be an educational video.
Yeah.
Like our intent is to talk to teachers or maybe to, specific students. But then there's also, the videos where we are drinking and we are just having fun. Yeah. And those are the ones where I don't bother bleeping out the swear words on some of those. We kind of have the mixed bag depending on who we think the audience is for that video.
That's always the thing that gets me is, do you censor the cursing? Because my mother listens to all of our podcasts and she'll let me know if I forget one.
No, Una's really good at censoring, and making sure that the stuff that is not intended to be like, hey, do we want this video to be able to be shown in a classroom? Because if so, then we need to try to be on our best behavior, and we try to record it early so that we haven't had too many drinks. And then, we record the silly fun stuff towards the end of the night when we're 2 or 3 drinks deep.
Yeah.
That we know is never going to be shown in a classroom. It's just more for us, as it is. We've kind of said it's more just bro time.
Yeah.
He's my best friend. I want to hang out with him. He lives 2,000 miles away. This is how we do it.
Makes sense.
So in terms of that sausage, right? So both in terms of like the stories we select and how we do it through the evening. So the first few videos are the educational videos, and the one at the end of the night is going to be the for fun, tag hanging out with friends type videos.
Makes sense.
But what we'll do is we have like a calendar where we say every Thursday is when we record, and these are the 2 or 3 stories that we're going to do that Thursday, and we're going to bang it out in 2 hours. So what we do is we both go read it on our own. And then on usually Monday or Tuesday, we have like a little pre-chat where we say, hey, this is what we think the overall theme is. This is what it communicated to me. Here's an interesting way to break it down, or an interesting way to interpret what that story could mean to someone. And then we'll kind of just outline that from there, so that when we get on video, we have just like a loose outline of these are the major topics that we want to cover. And then we have like a specific structure for each episode in terms of, intro, publication info, plot, analysis, closer. And that's just kind of how we create our sausages.
That's good. I'm wondering, because you record so much, at least compared to us, it feels like a lot. You ever go through slumps when you're either picking stuff where you're just like, I can't find anything I want to read, or it's just like, I'm just recording too much this week? And if so, how do you get through that? We
have well over 2 years worth of content that we have planned and can go through, but it's shifting, right? Because right now we're both just overworked, that we're cutting back and putting more fun into it right now.
Yep.
And once we can kind of, maybe if we're more bored or if things kind of slow down for us, then we may want to be challenged, and we'll put some more of those intellectual ones back in. So it's all about kind of like, hey, here's the 2 to 3 that we're doing this week. If our lives are getting busy, we start chopping out some of that content and start putting in more fun content in its place.
It's not a whip. That has become our saying. Una will create a schedule and send it to me over Discord, and we look at the whole month and break down when we are recording, when we are publishing, and if something comes up, because March, April, May are super busy for me. Being a teacher, I have all the testing coming up and the AP exam and grading, and it just becomes a very hectic time period with the SATs and etc. That we're just like, hey, I can't keep up. I can't do this novel. Sometimes I cut it and I don't do it. He does, he doesn't. And we try to just plan accordingly, because that life comes first, and this is ultimately for us and for fun. So that's we try to make sure that the schedule is not a whip, that it's conducive to our lives, that it doesn't drive everything for us.
Right.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, when everything is said and done, how do you relax? This is kind of related to the hobby question, but like, how do you decompress from sitting down, recording, reading, editing, everything that goes into the process?
My relaxed time is spending time with my 5-year-old. We'll usually just go out front. With COVID going on right now, I can't really go to like the parks or any public place like that. And we'll play basketball, we'll play tag. We just kind of goof around for a little bit, and that tends to be kind of like my reset.
I know after the night of recording, usually it's Thursday night, it's 9:30, I go straight to bed if it's immediately after recording, because I got to be up at 5 a.m, because I work out in the morning before I go to school at 6. So that's usually I just go straight to bed if it's a Thursday night. But sometimes if we get done early, or if we've only done a couple of videos, then I will go in, and the wife and I, we'll talk, and she'll be like, because she gets home a lot of times from work and I'm recording, so we kind of haven't had our discourse, and she, how was recording, how'd it go, and how was your day, et cetera, and we'll just kind of do that. But yeah, as I said before, I'm a video game guy, big into fitness, stuff like that for my unwinding. I love naps too.
Those are important.
Good one. Very underrated one.
It's worth pointing out I'm the editing guy for the channel, so a lot of times we'll film on Thursday, and then what happens is just Friday morning and Saturday morning, Sunday morning, just depending on how much we filmed, I'll spend an hour or so just kind of editing together the videos just with my headphones on and the computer, as we're drinking coffee, as my son's just kind of waking up and eating breakfast and stuff like that. It's just something that that's the time where I'm kind of like, I'm waking up. It's just something that kind of like is very mechanical. So it's a good way for me just to kind of do some things as the coffee is starting to kick in each day. You asked about the programs earlier. I use Final Cut Pro. It's kind of like a one-time fee.
Yep.
And then, as opposed to Adobe where you have to keep paying each month to edit stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I think that's kind of the end of our questions that we have had prepared. So thank you so much for both coming on. It was great to finally get around to chatting. I know we've been planning it for a while.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. This is awesome.
Yeah. But yes, thank you both to Una and Crypto. Once again, they are from CodeX Cantina. We'll leave the links to their channel in the description of this video. It's been a blast. You should check out their videos. And not that I'm specifically hawking the Dark Tower videos, but definitely it's helped me recontextualize some of the ways that I see the series.
Good. Thank you so much for having us, guys.
Of course.
Peace.